Greetings, scholars. Now we will move on to Unit 2, Marketing Strategy Planning. Okay. The marketing management process refers to the planning, implementation, and controlling of the marketing activities. These processes are ongoing, and it doesn't mean that once you get to the final phase, which is the controlling and the planning part, that you're done, because as the world is ever changing and evolving, so is marketing. Okay, planning is required rather, because marketing managers must seek new opportunities, and as we figure out what those opportunities are, then we look at what needs to be done. So the implementation piece of it is putting the marketing plans into action. Okay. Now, you heard me use this term target market a lot in Unit 1. So target market is the people that our whole marketing plan and strategy revolves around. In your text, you will see little diagrams, and if you're following along with me in your optional PowerPoint, in Exhibit 2.2, you see two circles. There's a big red circle, and in the middle of the red circle, there's a little yellow circle that says target market. And right now, the red is kind of sort of blank. All it says there is the marketing mix. Okay, but there is a reason that the target market is in the middle. Okay, and as the title of this chapter states, what we'll be focusing on in this unit is marketing strategy planning. And in the planning process, we also want to make sure that we are developing strategies that the customer will appeal to, but also strategies that will yield profit for the company. Okay. So, by definition, marketing strategy specifies a target market and a related marketing mix. The target market is those homogeneous group of people that the product or service is designed for. It is the group of people that the company wants to appeal to. The marketing mix are the controllable variables that we use as marketers to try to reach out to the target market. The target market responds to those variables in different ways, and if we've done the research correctly, we hope that these homogeneous group of people respond to the mix in the same way. The marketing mix is also the 4 P's. So you would hear those terms used interchangeably. The 4 P's, which are product, price, place, and promotion. Now, the customer is at the center of the diagram, i.e. the target market, but why aren't people a part of the 4 P's or the marketing mix? There's a very simple answer. I think that you all have been around long enough to know that you cannot control people. But we as marketers, what we try to do is control behaviors. And by doing our research and researching customer values, the values of our identified target market, and communicating those values to those people, we hope that they will respond to the mix in the same way. Okay? And so target marketing is very specific and very detailed, and again designed to reach these specific group of people. All right. If you look at the diagram, Exhibit 2.2, it kind of looks like a bullseye. Okay. And so theoretically, if we design this mix and center it around the target market or the customers, we should hit our target every time. Okay. Your text talks about this approach as that you can consider it to be like a rifle approach versus mass marketing, which could be considered a shotgun approach, because mass marketing is designed to reach everybody. Mass marketing assumes that everybody in the market is the same. If you recall from chapter 1, in unit 1, the market is the people who are willing and able to purchase your product. So mass marketing assumes that all of these people are the same and considers everyone to be a potential customer. A good example of what mass marketing look like is direct mailers. Maybe you've seen or even received yourself ads from, let's say, Walmart. It's a good example to use. Your text also talks about Walmart there as well. Instead of picking out specific people within an area to send those to, Walmart would send those ads to everybody in a given zip code, right? In hopes that it will reach everybody, and which is very different from our targeted approach. Okay, so moving along with the flow of the text, we start to break down the 4 P's of marketing and what they are and what they mean in marketing. So here you also start to see your diagram start to change. If you will look at Exhibit 2.4, the outside circle is no longer red, and we have all the elements centered around the target market now. Okay, you have your product, price, place, and promotion centered around the target. Okay, and just remember that about this, the 4 P's and why it's in the middle is that these elements are concerned with making sure that the right product is at the right place at the right time for the right person. And the promotion piece of that is to make sure that we tell them. Okay. In Unit 2, also we start to break down and define what those 4 P's are and what they mean to marketing more. So first is place. Okay, and as I've said, you got to make sure that it's at the right place. In the place conversation, the channel distribution is a huge key player in how we get the product to the customer. Okay, and examples that the texts have, and specifically you can refer to Exhibit 2.6, but examples that the texts have is for short and complex channels of distribution. For a very short one, you have a service provider like Geico that provides insurance. There's nobody in the middle. You have Geico and the consumer. Another short example is a little more complex than Geico, but this is also considered a short example that your text use is Toyota and what's in the channel distribution between Toyota and the consumer. Okay, so in this instance, we are talking about the manufacturer itself. If we want to purchase a Toyota, we don't go straight to the Toyota manufacturing plant to buy one. We may go to the Toyota dealership or another type of dealership to purchase one. Okay, so in this case, you have the manufacturing company, the retailer is in the middle, who then sells the vehicle to the consumer. Lastly, I'll share with you an example that is a little more complex, which is Sara Lee. Okay, now when I think Sara Lee, I think pound cakes. I think about Sara Lee pound cakes. So let's say I want to buy a Sara Lee pound cake. And in this example, we have Sara Lee, who is the manufacturer. And again, I am not going to go to Sara Lee manufacturing plant to buy a pound cake. Sara Lee then sells the product to a wholesaler who passes it on to a retailer. In this example, it would be like a grocery store. And then I go into the grocery store and purchase. And that is an example of a more complex channel of distribution. Okay. Now, I've mentioned that the 4 P's are also called the marketing mix. And our next P is promotion. That is going to be involved with telling the customer about the product. Not only do we want to tell the customer about the product, we also want to tell the customer where to go to get the product. Okay. In promotion, there are a couple of things that I want to highlight. Some examples of promotion include personal selling. Personal selling is direct spoken communication between the sellers and the potential customers. A good example of personal selling is Avon or Mary Kay, for example. Those are products that you cannot find in the store. You do not see advertisements on. You have to have a personal relationship with a salesperson in order to obtain the product. Okay. Versus mass selling, which communicates a large number of customers at the same time. Okay. And in that conversation, there are two main ways that is done. One is advertising. Advertising is any paid form of personal presentations of ideas and goods and services identified by a sponsor. Okay. Now, in this definition, a sponsor is the person or the company who is actually paying for the advertisement. Okay. So let's say if Fort Valley State had a commercial on a local radio station, Fort Valley State would be identified as the sponsor. Okay. Also, we have publicity. Okay. Publicity is unpaid, non-personal presentation of ideas of goods or services. Okay. It also includes creating and placing content on the web for customers to find and pass along to others. That is a form of word of mouth. And in today's society, it is called e-word of mouth. Okay. But there is some key differences between publicity and advertising. Okay, to help you understand the difference. All right. First of all, advertising is always paid, it's always positive, and it's always internal. Advertising is always paid, it's always positive, and it's always internal. Okay. We've already identified by the definition that advertising has to have a sponsor. So that's the person paying for it, right? Which leads to it's paid for, okay? And it's always positive because the sponsor for a company is going to put out a good feel for the company, okay? So we're going to put out a good advertisement that is positive, okay? Publicity can be a little different, okay? Publicity is non-paid. We've already identified that from the definition. Publicity can be positive or negative, and it can also be internal or external. Publicity is non-paid, negative or positive, internal or external. Now, from a company standpoint, of course, if we are doing publicity for a company that we work for, that makes it internal and is going to be positive. But we can't always control what people say about us. Even as the definition suggests, that publicity can be passed on from customers to other people. So that communication is therefore possible to be external. And it's also possible for it to be negative if the customer did not have a good experience. Okay. Lastly, we will have the price elements of the 4 P's. So pricing involves setting the pricing strategy for the product. And in our pricing objectives, we look at things like flexibility, relating to how the price of the product changes over time, the different allowances that may be associated with the product. For example, sales, discounts, coupons, and other type of promotional activities. And for example, even an employee discount for some companies is also included in this conversation. Our school is in a military community. So some of the surrounding cities and do offer, and the businesses offer military discounts for as well, but that is factored into the price as well. Geographic terms, you can even think about the channel of distribution, and the shipping that may be involved may also affect price. And lastly, competition. A good marketer is always very aware of the competition and what the competition is doing, and that includes price. Okay. So combined, by using this marketing mix and the 4Ps and developing them, this is where marketers start to make the selection of the target market. Okay. So our target market is our customers that the product or service is designed for. The target market combined with the marketing mix, also the 4Ps, product, price, place, and promotion, equal the marketing strategy. When we put the marketing strategy together with time, detailed events, we have a marketing plan. Now, a company may have more than one marketing plan, and most do. When we combine the marketing plans of the company, we have a firm's marketing program.